All right, Alexander, let's answer the questions from the live stream with Jeffrey Sachs. And let's start things off with Jeffrey Mulford, who sent us a super sticker. Thank you, Jeffrey, for that. Prac2 says, what's happening in Marinka? I've been seeing videos showing the whole town has been bombed into oblivion. Are the Russians responsible?
Yes, I think that this has been a very fiercely fought battle in Marinka. I have to say, the Russians at one point, back in the autumn, claimed they'd captured the place, and it's clear that they haven't. But anyway, there's been intense fighting in Marinka. The place has been very, very badly not destroyed, and I think both sides have played a role in that. So obviously the Russians have the heavier artillery, so they've no doubt done the more damage. The latest reports from the Russians suggest that they've now captured the entire industrial area of Marinka, where the most heavily fortified Ukrainian positions were, and that finally, after this long battle for this place, a relatively small place, that they are finally coming close to the point where they can be said to have captured it. So it's been a long-running, grueling battle, but perhaps one that is now coming towards an end.
James Hal 9000, thank you for that super sticker. Trevelyan Gale, thank you for that super sticker. Torsten Mush, thank you for that super sticker. Philip says, thank you, the Duran. And Alan Shepard Page says, why Eastern countries don't dump the dollar, like Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, and so on?
Give them time. They will. It doesn't happen in a day. You've got to unscramble the contracts and read all kinds of agreements and agree on new currency methods and new interbank transfer methods. It's not done immediately, but it's happening much faster than I ever imagined.
D Wonders, thank you for that super chat. Anon Calorisian, thank you for that super sticker. Elza says, some U.S. politicians say that China has plans to destroy the U.S. for at least 1,000 years. That's an impressive plan.
Very impressive. I think that obviously, not true, but whatever.
Lozenala says, thanks Duran, received my sweatshirt with the winning country flag. Thank you for that. Jungle Jin says, your analysis on Kafkazia and its geopolitical importance regarding the North-South Road. Why is Russia so helpless to broker a durable truce in that area?
Well, I don't think they're helpless. I think they are to some extent distracted by Ukraine, but they're caught between, I think, their essential sympathies, which remain very much with Armenia, and their national interests, which require them to, which make them tilt more towards Azerbaijan. So I think that they've not given this issue the amount of attention they needed to in order to resolve it quickly after the war, because, as I said, of the Ukraine crisis. And I suspect it's been delegated to less important people. And they're not perhaps as self-confident or as assured in bringing it to a conclusion as they should be. And as I said, there's this push-pull factor as well. I think eventually it will be resolved. And I think you will see it sorted in the end, pretty much along the lines that was outlined at the time when the fighting ended about 2 years ago.
Shifu Ujinsi says, this period reminds me of the 40s and 70s. The Western countries are fighting against the tide of history, just like they were fighting independence.
Yeah, true.
Alan Shepard Page says, whose beard is better, mine or Alex? Jungle Jin says, can a central bank or ECB fail?
I think Jeffrey actually answered that question.
Yeah, he did. Golden Silence says, Europe is descending into chaos from Dancing Queen, OnlyFans star Marin, to Baerbock, to Van der Stupid, to Playmate of June 2003 Social Affair Minister. The EU is completely screwed.
I completely agree. I have to say, I mean, it distresses me to say this, but I cannot think of a previous period in European history where things have been, leadership, the quality of leadership has been this bad.
Tyler Durden says, if you think about it, Biden somehow acts like a Manchurian candidate for the Chinese. The question, cui bono, most of that time leads to them.
I don't think he does in that sense. I think, on the contrary, he's brought relations between the US and China to the point of utter destruction, just as he's done the same with US relations with the Russians. The problem is that he sees everything in very confrontational terms. He has drifted into a confrontation over Taiwan, just as he's drifted with the Russians into a confrontation over Ukraine. So I don't think he's a Manchurian candidate. That doesn't mean that he didn't have very close connections with the Chinese in the past. Maybe the Chinese should ask for their money back. Just saying.
Observant Indian says aligning with the West is imminent dissolution for India and political suicide for even Modi. Russia never tried to dictate foreign policy or governance, unlike the United States.
I agree completely. I should say, as I said, I've had a very interesting long interview with Glenn Deason, with the former Indian ambassador to Moscow. And my overwhelming impression was that he and presumably the Indian government understand all the points you've just made extremely well. It's a long interview. It'll take some time to come up, but when it does, do watch it.
Ted Wunderlich says the neocons are just smart enough to have the evil intent, but not smart enough to implement that evil in the way they like. Midwittery at its worst.
Absolutely. You put it perfectly.
Jungle Jin says maybe invite Arundhati Roy to speak about India.
Yeah.
New 2 says the U.S. has had this coming for a long time, caused so much damage, going to be put in their place along with the obsolete money printing.
Yes, I agree with that too.
Charlotte May, thank you for that super sticker. GDNBP, thank you for that super chat. Anand Kalorisian says, I understand why the Russians are really taking this difficult situation slow and deliberately. There are pros and cons to it, but I'm confident that they will prevail in the end. Slava Russia.
Yes, I think they will prevail in the end too. I've said that all along. That remains my view.
Anna Weirs, thank you for that super chat. Anand Kalorisian, thank you for that super sticker. NGS says, thank you for the great work during a time with a lot of misinformation and forbidden topics. Have you considered talking to Defense Politics Asia, Wyatt?
No, that's a thought.
Yes, Wyatt would be a good guest.
He would be.
Got his information.
Yeah.
Wyatt would be a good guest to have on.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Wyatt, I need to contact you or contact us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That girl, Casey, the U.S. moves in a sense of obsessive chaos because they are compelled to do so. There's a spiritual element to these events, such as war and economics, that is prophesized. Thanks always for the great discussions.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. And finally, Trevor Else, thank you for that super sticker. That is everything from the live stream with Jeffrey Sachs. Thank you.